So thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Archie Gianunzio, and I run the sales and marketing departments at Videa. I have been in broadcast TV sales for 25 years now, and most of that time was spent at a rep firm, Cox Reps, previously Telerep. And so I've been through it as broadcast goes, and the friction points and the pain points and how manual this process is. And so everything that's been talked about in a lot of the panels today, we all seem to know what's wrong. And we all seem to have a pretty good idea of what things we need to do, the steps we need to take to get us there. So I think it's great that sort of halfway through the day, we're able to come up here and give you a real world example of how we are starting to chip away at making things easier. So when we talk about broadcast and we talk about those pain points, every piece along the way is very manual. And one of the things that has always been an issue is, are we delivering? Is a campaign actually performing? And so one of the tools that exists within the Videa platform is what we call campaign performance reporting, which is a fancy three-word, long-winded way of saying the post. Am I posting? Am I getting the points that I paid for, right? Are we delivering on the schedule? And so Helena wonderfully agreed, and Helena and I have worked together for years. Helena works at WDIV, which is the Graham Media Group-owned NBC station in Detroit. It's a powerhouse station, and Helena took to Videa pretty quickly because she's been in her role long enough where she's eager for a way to do things better, easier, right?
Yep, 100%.
And so one of the things that Helena clued into really quickly was what she could do with knowing in flight how a campaign was performing. So she's able to take that information, this data, right? We all talk about having the data and mining the data and analyzing the data. Well, Helena started to do that on her own in ways that is benefiting not only the station, but what we believe at Videa, what I believe, is going to push us towards benefiting the industry at large. So that's kind of a big statement to make, right? We're going to save broadcast. Well, I think together all of us are going to, because all of us are pushing in that same direction. So we're going to focus this from the standpoint of change and change management. A lot of people in this industry, as was just said, have been doing it for decades. We have not changed the way we do things for decades. And we are now starting to take those little steps toward change. And so, Helena,
yes.
Give us an idea of what this campaign performance tool meant, what it can do for you.
Yeah, so what I figured out really quickly is most TV stations have a local sales side, and we have the rep side that we work with the national reps. I do most of my work with all the national reps. I work with Cox Media. And what I found was, instead of having to wait for a rep to get their post done on a Tuesday, when they have 500 million other avails and things going on, waiting for them to get a post done, I can go into campaign performance when I'm already in Videa doing my new orders, revisions, make-good offers, whatever I'm doing. And I can see if an advertiser or an order is coming up to 100% or whatever we agreed to post to. Most of them are 100% now. So if I come in and I see somebody sitting at 110% and I have a Wednesday Chicago PD out that does phenomenal, but I don't have anywhere to go except Saturday night, I don't feel bad offering them a Saturday night. We all know Saturday night is not going to do what the Chicago PD did. However, I can put in my little comments, hey, you guys are posting 110%, I can't get you back at Chicago PD, I can get you 2 times in the Dateline Saturday night. And they're gonna take it, because I can put everything in that little note. It's factual, I'm not lying to them, they can see it just as easily as I can. On the flip side of that, if I'm underperforming, and we are a station, I don't know about every station, but I will tell you at this station, we strive very hard not to underperform, of course, but when it happens, we want to get it cleared up like that. I don't like stuff hanging out, it drives me crazy. So if I go in and I see that we're only at 82% and we've got to hit 90 or 95 or even 100, I can go, oh geez, I got a voice for Tuesday and today's Friday. I'm pretty sure I can get them into that upgrade and be able to put that in there too. Even though they would take that make-good offer for Friday night blind spot going into the voice because they know it's an upgrade, I like the idea of selling it to them like we're doing them, you know, a good favor. Favor's probably not the right word, but we're helping them out because we want to be the good guys. Yeah, we want to be the good guys. So I love it for that reason alone. And I love that it's continually able to pull up the spots that had maybe been missed so that we can jump on them a little bit quicker, including the rep. The rep can go in and see, hey, I didn't run Tuesday night, and it's Thursday, can we still get back into this week? Because as you know, plenty of advertisers need to be in the same week, same month, same everything, all the time.
Right, so everyone gets what basically was just said, right? Helena can look in the system and see if the order that she's doing make-goods for is underperforming. She's gonna try to find them a better make-good. If it's overperforming, she's not gonna waste that better make-good because they're already overperforming. And what this does is it means that there is less cross-quarter under-delivery rate that needs to be placed, right? One of the biggest pain points that we never really quantify is the churn that happens in broadcast. So every spot that gets blown out and has to be made good somewhere else, that's basically buying that spot again. Anytime we have to add under delivery weight, we are, with manpower, doing the work again and again and again. So at an agency, when a buyer thinks, I did a bang-up job on this buy, I came in under my cost per points, but they ground the station down to rates that are never gonna run. Is it still a deal the next quarter when half of it got blown out and they had to do all of that work again? And then it didn't deliver and they had to do it again. And then they didn't input it all in their system and so it's discrepant and they have to go look back at it again. This is where we're killing ourselves, and we have been for decades. But there is hope in the form of automating some of these processes. So what campaign performance does within Videa is it posts every buy that runs through Videa every week. So at any point, Helena can go in and look and see where each buy is performing. No one has to pull a post. No one has to pull exact times. It is rectified within the system. And so that's really the idea behind what we're trying to achieve at Videa, and what I know so many other vendors in this room, and that are not even in this room, are trying to achieve. It's the idea of, can we make this easier? Can we make it more efficient? And I'm not talking about making it so that you're not selling. Because in my mind, getting a buyer to accept a make-good that the rules of that buy suggested she already could accept, you're not selling anything. You're just moving spots around. So this is what makes me excited about it, because when I was at Cox Reps, when I was selling, I want to believe that every minute of my day is going to be spent making someone do what they weren't already going to do, which is the definition of sales. So if they already could accept this make-good, and I've gone over and asked them to accept it, and they accepted it, and I think I sold something, well, I'm just wasting time. And that's what we want to avoid, is the wasting of time. So let's quickly go through the example of this Olympics buy, because I think it's a big deal.
Yeah. So we got Videa at the end of December a year ago, and end of 2017, and in 2018 we had Olympics running in February, so we had this huge, over $1 million order come through, and it came through Videa, and as much as I instantly liked Videa, I freaked because it's massive. And I wasn't fully prepared to do it, but it ended up being amazing, and it was because of the campaign performance, because you more than likely are under some restriction to make good the Olympic under-delivery within the Olympics, which isn't always easy to do, but it's even harder when they come in at the end of the flight, the 2-week window of Olympics, and say, oh, there's 2 days left of Olympics, but we are owed 30 points. There's nothing we can do. And everybody's frustrated. So what happened with Comcast was all the way through, every day, because there's about 1 day lag, and then every time the log gets reconciled, we could see where we were at, and we were able to input under delivery weight for them. The buy ended up posting, and I had nothing to deal with in second quarter, and it was absolutely amazing.
So
it was great.
That's the kind of thing that I think everyone in the room is talking about when we talk about making things better. It's looking at the problems that we know exist, and then listening to the people that actually are working down in the mines. What would make it easier for them? And so something else that Helena and I talked about last night was an example where an order came into the station, and somehow a mistake happened, and that order didn't make it into the traffic system. That order didn't come through Videa. And it wasn't noticed until after the flight was over. Everyone who's in broadcast knows that this happens sometimes. A buyer finds out a spot was missed after, when the invoice comes in, rather than during the flight. And Helena said last night, and so I'm going to use it today because I'm in sales and I'm going to, is that if that order had come through Videa, she would have known that it wasn't running, because campaign performance would have told her that those spots were not matching up, because it's all happening in that one system. So while this was my 15 minutes to do a little commercial for Videa, it's a commercial for the idea of leaning in Accepting the fact that the way we've done things forever is not the way we should still be doing things today. And not being so afraid of change. But I know change is scary. I'm going to talk more about that. I'm on a panel next, and I'll say a lot more. Don't give me a microphone. I'll talk forever. The point is, we have to meet people where they are today, see what their fear is and what their level of acceptance is going to be to change, and manage them through that change. So Helena is an example of someone who was eager for this kind of change, and she jumped right in. But we have other people at other stations. We have other people at rep firms now who've heard this story, and then they start to get it. So I think someone said in the last panel that it's like incremental and then it all happens at once. Well, if that's true, this is the incremental, and I guess soon it's going to happen all at once. But if it doesn't, we're going to keep taking baby steps toward a better future where we can automate the parts of the process that make sense. We can sell where it makes sense, and we can get out of this business of churn and having advertisers pulling money out of broadcast television, when what they should be doing is doubling down on broadcast when we make it easier. Does that make sense to everybody? There's a lot of shaking heads, which I love to see. I think we could do a question, if anyone had a question. Anybody want to ask Helena anything? Yeah? Take the box.
Does your buyer, after you make put an order, have you already negotiated what are acceptable make goods, so you don't have to go back and forth with your buyer and go, is this okay, is this okay, is this okay?
Well, I would say that's different all the time. I could go on and on about it, but the simple answer is most buyers and agencies that I happen to be working with right now, I've been with most of them long enough to know what they really want, and also don't do stupid stuff. You know, don't, the example of the campaign performance is don't offer voice if you don't need to, but also don't offer Saturday night if you're out 5 points. Don't insult the buyer, because they don't want it. They will just shut you down then for the next 2 weeks. So I wouldn't say there's any kind of understanding ahead of time. I mean, unless they're very, 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 very strict and they say, I will absolutely not take a make good that is not in premium prime, then you know. But that doesn't happen that often. It only happens in like movie buys and really specific buys.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool. And you know, one of the other things that we all need to get a handle on is we should know ahead of time what the rules are, because the agency knows what the rules are. Anyone here who's an agency knows that if a buy is planned and at the point where you're placing spots, you know what you can accept in the event of a make good. I shouldn't have to ask. I should have to sell you something that isn't in the rules. That's sales. But if I'm offering you something I already knew you could accept, then again, we're just pushing paper around. And that's what we're trying to avoid.